This lesson is 5.5, Inequalities Involving Absolute Value. You'll have two situations. They'll form a compound inequality that means the word and, or you'll have a compound inequality meaning the word or. So we'll try to set up how you can tell the difference. If you're going to have the word and as part of your solution, so you're looking for an overlap on your graph, then you're going to start with your absolute value bars, usually on the left, with nothing outside the bars. Everything will be inside the bars, and you have the is less than symbol or is less than or equal to symbol. If the absolute values are over on the right, it's still okay as long as the inequality is pointing towards that absolute value side. Then you still have it is less than or is less than or equal to, referring to the absolute value side. So let's start with the absolute value of m plus 2 is less than 11. So the first thing I want you to do, you're going to rewrite this into the two separate inequalities. So you're going to start by writing it exactly the way it looks, but deleting the bars. So rewrite it down here below, m plus 2 less than 11. Now because the bars were here by themselves and we had is less than, we're going to write the word and. Now the second compound part, we're going to take what's inside the bars only, the m plus 2, not the bars, just what's inside. We're going to flip this symbol here over and make it greater than on this one, and then we're going to change the sign of this side and make it negative 11. So as we go to solve, we'll subtract 2, so we'll have m is less than 9, and when we subtract 2 over here, we'll have m is greater than negative 13. So then we'll draw a number line, we're going to number it. I'm going to count by 2's. So that I can find all my possibilities here. Now, m less than 9, same thing as we were doing in the last lesson. Above here, we'll do our thinking. Open circle, it would shade to the left. M greater than negative 13 would be an open circle above negative 13. I'm a little too far over there, but we can know where it's supposed to be. But that one would shade to the right. And means we're looking for the overlapping area. Since they overlap between the two open circles, we'll bring down the two open circles, so at the negative 13 and the 9, and then our shading will actually be between those two, so we'll make sure we put our shading between those two open circles. Make sure yours doesn't have to be that thick and bold, but make sure that I can see the shading when I'm looking at your number line. So it might be a good idea to draw your number line in ink and then shade with the pencil so that it's easy to read it when we're reading the solution. Alright, let's quickly go through another example here. We've got n minus 8 in the absolute value bars is less than or equal to 2. So we'll bring out what's in the bars, n minus 8, less than or equal to 2 the way it looked. It'll be the word and then we'll do n minus 8, but we'll switch this to greater than or equal to negative 2 because we'll switch the symbol and change the sign on the right. Now as we solve, I'm going to add 8, so if I add 8 to the 2, I'll get 10. Keep my word and. If I add 8 to negative 2, then I will get 6. Now, as I'm going to number my number line down here, up above, if I do less than or equal to 10, that would be a closed circle at 10 going to the left. And if I did greater than or equal to 6, it would be a closed circle going to the right. So the situation that I have is overlapping between the two closed circles. So bring down the two closed circles and then do your shading right here in between those two closed circles. Okay, remember it doesn't have to always overlap between the circles. Remember the same shading rules apply as in the last lesson. Okay, so always do your thinking and then decide where the overlap is really at. All right, let's look at this one. This is one that you a lot of times we'll be able to tell what is going to happen by looking at it in this form, but a lot of students will go ahead and write it because they won't recognize it, or they'll get confused when it happens. So if we write y minus 1 is less than negative 2, the way it looks without the bars, then the word and then do the y minus 1 is greater than positive 2. Now when we solve both of these, we're going to add 1, so we'll have y is less than negative 1, and at the same time, if we add 1 here, we get y is greater than 3. So if we use some numbers on our number line here, if I did y is less than negative 1, it would be an open circle at negative 1 going to the left. Y greater than 3 would be an open circle going to the right. Now because the word and, I'm looking for an overlap, and there's no overlap between those two things, so we want to leave this number line blank, and this would become a no solution. Okay, now the reason I said you could see that starting out, the absolute value of any number can never be less than a negative, because it can't be negative. So that would tell you no solution if you thought about what you were seeing there. But you have to be careful, because if that's a greater than sign, you could still have possibilities, or if that was not a negative 2 over there, you could still have possibilities. So you just have to be careful when you're thinking that out ahead of time. All right, the other possibility is that we're going to really mean the word or. So that's when the absolute value bars are on the left with nothing outside the bars, everything's inside the bars, and you have an is greater or than sign. Now I purposely misspelled greater and put it as OR there at the end, because if you say it great or than, you'll remember that when it's the greater than symbol, that's when it's the word or. All right, we'll do just a couple of these. Again, you're going to split them apart. So you're going to take what's inside the bars, the 3n plus 6, greater than or equal to 12 the way it looks. Because it's greater than, you're going to say it's the word or, graphing all possibilities when we get to the end. Then we take what's in the bars, the 3n plus 6, switch the symbol over to less than or equal to, and change the sign of the 12 to negative 12. Solve both of these, and then again we'll do our graphing. So we'll subtract 6. 3n is greater than or equal to 6, divide by 3, n is greater than or equal to 2. We'll bring our word or down, go solve the other one. Subtract 6, 3n is less than or equal to negative 18 when you subtract 6. Divide by 3, n is less than or equal to negative 6. So now we're going to look at this and see where our graph's going to go. Get my number line numbered. I'm counting by 2s, and then I'm also only numbering every other one, so it'll be a little less confusing on the graph. Greater than or equal to positive 2 would be a closed circle at 2 going to the right. Less than or equal to negative 6 would be a closed circle at negative 6 going to the left. Or doesn't have to overlap, so you bring all possibilities down, and we'll bring down the closed circle at negative 6 to the left and the closed circle at 2 going to the right. All right, we'll quickly look at one more. The absolute value of 2k plus 1 is greater than 7, so we'll have 2k plus 1 greater than 7, or 2k plus 1, switch the symbol to less than, and change that to negative 7. So now we'll solve, subtract 1, 2k is greater than 6, divide by 2, k is greater than 3. Remember it's the word or, so we'll bring that down. Subtract 1 from this one, and we'll get 2k is less than negative 8. Divide by 2, k is less than negative 4. So as we're getting our graph set up here, all right, greater than 3 would be an open circle at 3 going to the right. Less than negative 4, open circle at negative 4 going to the left. Since it's an or, we don't worry if they overlap. We bring down both possibilities. So we'll bring down the open circle and shade to the left. We'll bring down the open circle for the 3 and shade to the right. Remember that you could possibly get an all real solution, just like we did in the other lesson. All right, what I want you to practice and you can look at some things in your book. Just make sure you follow my format. So if you need to rewatch the video, you can do that at home or on the little netbooks. But on page 312, you're going to do 2 through 18, the evens, and then also the section 22 through 28, also do the evens there.